Chapter 1 of Clouds Cover the Campus. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Maria Therese. Clouds Cover the Campus by Daniel A. Lord, S.J. Chapter 1. I'll always remember Dick's remark that night, because at the time I thought what a whiskey chestnut it was. He stepped on the starter of that funny old car of his and the special rebuilt motor that's as quiet as a sundial and fast as a streamliner on a straight track, and said, "Nice night for a murder." I recall that I thought sharply that we university men were really queer guys. Here was a lovely night, with a crescent moon hanging in a silver cutout over the horizon, and the stars doing the rumba against the black velvet drop, and spring pushing out of the ground in fresh greens and yellows and pinks, and the air something you could eat for dessert. Yet a college man summarizes it with a bromide like, "Nice night for a murder." Dick's car cut off into the night like a torpedo heading for the nearest battleship, and I strolled across the campus. It was a year since I got my B.S. in physics at Holy Cross, and though my days and nights at Rockledge University centered around old Short Circuit, that's Dr. Abraham Eisenberg to you, Nobel Prize winner and German Jewish exile, I still liked the feel of the place. Except that right now it was being cluttered up with young sprouts who talked aviation morning, noon, night, and all the time. Rockledge had been aviation-minded from the moment the government planted aviators there and called on the boys and girls to start flying for their country. It had been up in the stratosphere since Pierre Morin had taken over a month before. Morin, who looked like the whole Lafayette escadrille, who walked like the spirit of France unconquered, who flew a plane like a dive-bomber showing off for the country fair and his best girl, and who came to us with the aura of heroism all around him. Recent heroism, too. When the French army surrendered, he escaped to the USA, and our government put him to work, teaching the young idea how to zoom. I walked slowly under the elms that fringe and frame the main drive, and from instinct looked up toward the windows of old Short Circuit's lab. Yep, the lights were on all right. Instinctively I ducked. The old boy had second sight, and if he spotted me doing nothing, he'd probably yell to me to come up and hold a piece of pipe. Anyhow, it would probably be a piece of pipe I'd worked on, for he'd been making Nils Grumman. He was my fellow, if you get me, and we turned out the most outlandish pieces of brass and steel. We knew what he was making. A new bomb sight. We knew that the parts we were making were parts of the sight, but Short Circuit put them together nights when we weren't on the scene. That's the way old Short Circuit trusted the world in general. As I started to turn toward the dorm, I saw a figure moving in the lab, and though I couldn't make out anything clearly, for the window was high, and the figure as I saw it badly foreshortened, I knew in a flash it wasn't Eisenberg. Then the lights in the lab went off, but they stayed off for only a second, came on for a second, went off again, then on, then off for good. What made me do it, I'm sure I don't know, but I turned from the lab and looked up to the sky. There, off to my right, flying low, was a monoplane with colored lights on its wings and landing lights far forward on its nose. As I watched, the lights of the plane blinked off and on and off and on. Off for a prolonged minute, and then the plane wheeled and was away into the horizon. Maybe you don't think I made the door of the physics building in 3 jumps and got up the stairs to the 3rd floor in record time. Even as I ran, I wished the AAU had a watch on me. My time considerably bettered the time I made when I won the high hurdles for Holy Cross in my junior year. Down the dark hall I moved with a speed that was safe only because I knew every inch of the way by heart, past my own little experimental lab, dark and tightly locked, and the room where the janitor slept and kept his supplies. As I whisked past the janitor's room, some tautened antenna in my nervous system told me that his door, usually tight shut, was slightly ajar. Maybe I was seeing things. Anyhow, I didn't stop to confirm my impression, for just ahead of me was old Short Circuit's lab, and my hand, still yards away from it, was reaching out toward the knob.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?